Steve, so more of the same really on Saturday?
Yeah, well, that's what the Championship is. And we've had a good week, but we've got a really difficult game, and it's one of them where if we go and we think we've just got to turn up, then we'll be far mistaken, and we'll have it'll be difficult for us, because that's what the Championship is. It's relentless, and we've got back-to-back games now on Saturday and Tuesday again, but it's fair to say we've got a good week and we're playing well at the minute, so long may that continue.
How are the energy levels within the squad at the moment?
Well, the good thing is I made 8 changes, of course, which was partial of energy levels, if that's the way you want to put it. Nice way of putting it. But also it was the fact that if you have got a squad of players, then you have to play them. And I think that was more the reasoning. But of course then it gives me the wonderful headache now of trying to pick 11 out of 20 odd who have all played well over the last couple of weeks, which is obviously very, very good.
And those players who have put in some string of good performances in the Cup, they've been looking to maybe get a greater role within the league.
Of course. I mean, well, that is key to it, is getting the right balance and the right blend, and making sure that the energy levels are good, because I think we've only just started. We're only just a quarter of the way through, but I think the first thing first was paramount that we had a good start. Thankfully, we've done okay in that department, so we've now got the winter ahead of us, and starting by today, it looks like it's starting from tomorrow. And first time we've got our coats on, and the long winter months are coming ahead of us, which is we'll have to put up with.
Moving to December, where the Cup comes.
December, goodness sake.
Where you do play City, would you be looking to play that sort of same side that you played in the Cup?
Well, look, December's a long way off for now, and we've got a nice easy draw. It was the best draw that any team could have. You know, to pick out Man City away is delightful. But it's a cup competition. We'll look at it when we get a hold of it in December, and there's a long way to go now. We've got a big important week, starting with Milton Keynes, then we go to Brentford, and then of course we've got Middlesbrough next week, who had a great result last Tuesday too. So a big week ahead.
Sorry, how are Snodgrass and Diarmi faring in training now at the moment?
Good. Snodgrass has joined in for the last week. He'll join in again this morning. Diamande is back on the grass. He's running now. He's had no real contact yet, but we're expecting them both to be playing hopefully after the international break. It's in that break where we look to probably try and get a game of some sort for Snoddy. But touch wood at the moment, they look great, which can only help the squad. When we see them two, it's like two new players. It's a bit like Jake Livermore coming back with Snodgrass and Diamande. So that'll be a big boost to the squad just at the right time.
You talked then about a lot of these sort of the senior players starting to come back, some of these from injuries. What will then happen with some of the younger players? Will they stay up? Will they go on loan? Or?
Well, look, injuries, suspensions, the whole thing starts again. So I think you can't manage your head like that. But I'm all for some of the younger players we've got going out on loan and learning the trade. It's good for them. But we'll just analyse the whole situation. Greg Lewis, for example, played, and in Greg's situation, we think he's had an advantage of playing week in and week out and training week in and week out with the first team, and we think that's brought him on rather than putting him out on loan just yet. So I think we'll keep monitoring that one, and I was pleased with Greg. I think he had a wonderful game the other night, and he's had a meteoric rise, which was great to see.
And sort of on that theme, obviously, when you send out a team, when you make so many changes, you must be saying to them, well, go and show me what you can do. And, you know, I'll pick out two for you, Huddleston and Ryan Taylor certainly did that. But you might not be able to play them. You might choose to play, obviously.
Well, I think that's the difficult...
How do you then sell that to the players if they're not in the team?
Well, I think that's the most difficult part of management, and the most difficult part that we all face now. With transfer windows the way they are, back in the day, you used to have 14, 15 players, and if somebody got injured or suspended or whatever, you'd go and loan one, or you'd go and maybe buy one. So you were constantly keeping the squad involved. And I think when you've got 25, it's the ideal situation that you can play them in big cup games. But you're right, certainly people like Taylor had his best game for the club, which I was delighted about by a million miles. And he's had the bit between his teeth, not being happy, not being this, not being that. He's gone and showed me what he's all about again, Ryan, which, good for him. He's put himself right back in contention for Saturday. But you're right, I can only pick 11. And you just have to be as honest as you can. Let's not forget, we had our best performance probably of the season last Saturday. And last Tuesday against, when we won 3-0, who was that against? Ipswich. So they come that thick and fast. We've played really well. Doesn't matter who I've picked, we've played well, which bears well. And that's important, that we are up and running. Everybody's playing well. And you're better that way than not playing well at all. So I'll have to disappoint 7 or 8 players today. Probably not be able to take 2 or 3, which is, believe me, the hardest part of management. Because if you got something out of you want to play tomorrow. Certainly if I'd have played well the other night, last Tuesday, and we knocked out Leicester, one of the form teams of the Premier League, and I'm not going to play tomorrow, then I'd be wanting to rip my head off. And rightly so. So that's what I'll have to put up with. Nice Friday morning, miserable weather out there, and I've got to disappoint 4 or 5 people, I'm sure.
Okay, well, assuming that your head's still on your shoulders tomorrow, what do you make of Milton Keynes Dons this season?
Well, they're a good football side. They'll take the ball, they try and play, they're expansive, and in the manager, they knew one of these up and coming coaches, English coaches, which is good to see. And don't be surprised. I think I was reading yesterday, and we had a look at them yesterday in preparation, that there's only one team that have had more of the ball in possession than them when they've played in any of the 12 games. So they obviously want to get it down and pass it and try and play that way. The two centre-backs split, the goalkeeper gets it, and they try and make it as expansive as they can. So it should be a good football match. We're looking forward to it. And this is what the Championship's about for me now. We've had a good week. We've beat Birmingham, we've beat Leicester, and we've beat Ipswich. Now we go to MK Dons, where everybody fancies us. And now we made it important that we stay focused for the job against Milton Keynes and, of course, Brentford on Tuesday.
And finally, for me, what clicked with Alan and Anders?
What clicked? A goal, probably. A goal at the right time, and felt all of a sudden that he found it difficult to start with language. I think I've said it many times. Culture, language, speaking to people, new baby to ride for him. All of these sort of things when stuck in Uruguay is not good. But I think the big thing was just trying to adapt to play in England. And it's not easy. And I've said it many times, us English are hopeless. None of us, not many, play abroad very often because we're not very good at adapting. And certainly you found it a bit of a problem, Abel. But now, touch wood, he looks the real deal, which thankfully for everybody concerned, we've got a goal scorer. And when you've got a goal scorer, believe me, it makes life a little bit easier for you, because certainly in my reign here for 3 years, well, he's got more goals in the last 7 weeks than anybody has in the season. So we needed to improve in that department, but he looks the real deal, thankfully for him.
Steve, the last few weeks, as you say, have had some excellent results, but we've also been excellent performances. Principally as a fan, I've seen a dramatic change. Have you got the team to where you think you want them, or is this something you've been aiming for a long time?
Well, it was bubbling along on the surface that we were getting a few results, which is always good, don't get me wrong. We're getting a few results, but not really playing with the level which... So you always know, and in the back of your mind, well, when we start really playing well, and we get the balance, or you get this or that right, then we should be a very, very good team. And I think what happened over the summer is you need a little bit of time. We had a lot of young players coming into a club which has been relegated, not easy for them, and to deal with the expectation. I'm talking to the 2 young boys we took from Arsenal, Moses I'm talking about, Harry I'm talking about, Robertson I'm talking about. All these people are still learning their trade. So I think the key to it has been the bit of experience what we've had in dealing with relegation, the mixture of the youth and of course the experience. And at the moment we're playing really, really well, but we've got to play really well now for the next 4 or 5 months. And we know we're not going to get carried away, because we know how difficult it is, and there's going to be times when we can't win a game. That's going to happen. So long may it continue that the good run plays, and we play with a swagger which we're playing with at the minute, because I thought we were excellent against Leicester the other night. In the first half in particular, some of the football we played was terrific against an informed Premier League team who, yes, made changes, but, you know, with the changes they made, you know, you could arguably pick, they could be playing for Leicester as well, you know.
Some fantastic energy shown on the field at the moment. Everybody's fighting fit, without a doubt.
Well, I just seen, you know, before Leicester, you know, Clucas ran 13.5k against Birmingham, and then you've got El Mohammadi, and then you've got Myler and Jake, all in the high 12s. So there is some energy in full-back areas. We've got great pace and width, gives us the width. So we have got a good mixture of energy, pace, and a bit of power in the team, which obviously you need in at this level.
And have methods of training changed to get those levels up, or is it the quality of the players we've got in? I think we're at this level.
I think changing training doesn't really change. We've done the same sort of things. I think always in pre-season we do it right, where preparation has worked out right, and I stumbled on that because it was already in place when I arrived here. You know, we went and done our first 10, 12 days away from here, and it was a bit of a fluke this year as well because the training ground wasn't ready. But I think it took us in good preparation. No, and I think recruitment-wise, we've done well. We've done well with the young players we've brought in. So with the investment, what the club put into their recruitment side, you hear it often now about committees. We have 4 or 5 scouts who've now worked for me for the best part of 15 years. And I think that's vitally important, that when you're finding an Odebejo, or you're finding a Robertson, or you're finding 2 from Arsenal, or you're finding a Harry Maguire, all of them things are the vital component that a manager needs. And, you know, it's not been easy after getting relegated, but I think we can see the value in it coming through.
And coming from the academy, which is absolutely
well, the academy side too, and
is there anybody who's
well, I don't really want to put. I mean, Greg in particular has done fantastically well and come from nowhere. But I think the big compliment has to go to Tony and his staff. You know, we worked tirelessly. That we need to improve. We need to start produce a player, or 1 or 2. The under-21s have been terrific in that department. We've got 5 or 6 from non-league. Greg Lua being one, Callum another. The boy from George from Newport is called. No, let me get it. I'll come back to that. But we've had, we must have had 5 or 6 come from non-league too, who haven't quite made it, got the bit between the teeth. And overall, the standard of the academy, from moving to Bishop Burton and the direction Tony's given, I can't speak highly enough of what they've done. And I think that's got to improve, still improve. There's still a long way to go, but the club's improving in that department too, where let's hope we can see a player coming through. Certainly from the area of Hull, we should be producing football players instead of rugby players. So that's the aim. I might not be very well liked for saying that, but we've got to buck that trend. There's some very good rugby players out there. We need to start finding a footballer if we can.